Good morning. As Father said, my name is Charlie Gibson, and I'm a member of the Finance Council. I would like to give you a brief history of our capital spending here at St. Jude, a quick look at our current financial position, a look at our future vision, our future growth, and a testimony of what giving means for the Gibsons. My wife Karen and I have been parishioners here for 30 years, and wow, how things have really changed. What a wonderful complex we now have here at St. Jude's to grow our faith. So let's take a look at our capital spending. We spent right at $8.9 million to build this church. And our pastoral center cost $4.4 million. Our bell tower and religious ed expansion was $3.9 million. And of course, the current project, the columbarium, is going to cost us $1.2 million, but we paid cash for it. So in total, we have spent right at $22 million to build this wonderful complex. This doesn't include the money that we have raised for Honduras and the money we have given to the diocese capital campaign and many other projects through time. The remaining debt that we currently have is $2.38 million. We feel like this is very manageable, and obviously we would like to pay it down as fast as we can to minimize the amount of interest we pay. The thing that always amazes me about St. Jude's is your generosity. If there's a need in this community, we find a way to make it happen. Let's take a look at our current finances. Our 2022-2023 expense budget is $285,000 per month. Looking at the chart, that is the solid black line on the chart. Included in this $285,000 is our monthly mortgage. The cost for this current debt is $20,000 per month. Of the $20,000 per month, $8,000 of that money goes to pay down principal. $11,000 is interest. Obviously, the Finance Council was extremely worried during the pandemic, but your continued support and generosity allowed us to maintain strong financials through this terrible time. Again, looking at the graph, you see the red bar. That represents the operations contributions that we receive weekly or monthly. The blue bar represents new capital, and new capital means mortgage. This is the money we collect monthly to pay down our mortgage. And the green bar is building. And what we use building funds for is for maintenance, if the air conditioning goes out, or for the columbarium, new building projects. So we have averaged over the last 18 months $300,000 per month in contributions from our fellow parishioners, which is absolutely wonderful. However, if you look at the last 2 or 3 months on this chart, you see that our giving has dropped below our budget. And so that's a little bit of a worry for us. So let's dig into that a little with the next slide. On this slide, you see the red line, and that represents the new capital contributions. For most of the past 18 months, we were receiving $30,000 a month, which was $10,000 above our budget or above our mortgage payment. Over the last 4 months, that dropped to $15,000 a month. So that's been the major hit for us in terms of revenue into the church. One problem we found is that if you're an online giver, please check to make sure your contributions did not stop by a date limit, that it timed out. That happened to a couple parishioners. Let's make sure that's not happening, because obviously we need the funds. We're asking everyone to take this card home, which is our pledge card. It should be on the screen. And you should find them in your pews. This will be a 12-month pledge for our budget for 2023. Please take it home, fill it out, and return it in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, it's very important for every family to fill out a pledge card. It helps us budget for the year to make sure we have the funds to fulfill the needs of a church. So what's next for our parish? We have this beautiful sanctuary. We have new offices. We have a refurbished religious education building. We have a bell tower. And we see all these wonderful children walking back into church. For me, it's quite obvious. We need a teen center. We need a place where our teens can enhance their growth, where it's safe, warm, friendly, and enticing for teens, as we all know what teens can be. We need to do whatever it takes to keep our teens engaged, because they are the future of our church. More to come on this topic later, but before we embark on any project like that, the Finance Council will make sure our finances are in order. Lastly, I want to discuss what spiritual giving means to Karen and Charlie. Two things come to mind on this topic. I often reflect on the Luke parable about the farmer who had this bountiful harvest. The farmer decided to tear down his barns because he didn't have enough room. So he built bigger and larger barns to store all this grain because he was going to have this treasure for the rest of his life. What he did know is that the Lord called his life that night. So he didn't get to really enjoy any of that treasure. I also think about the miracle of the loaves and the fishes. In the Bible scene, Jesus feeds 5,000 people by multiplying 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. The Bible story emphasizes the importance of sharing and placing your trust in God. I often wonder about the person who had the food and he was willing to give it up and to share it with everyone, and it multiplied many times because of God's grace. Karen and I have tithed for the last 10 years. I do not say this to boast, but rather I say it to encourage you. Like you, I come here every Saturday or Sunday. I put my sins on that cross, and frankly, that cross is heavy. We're simple people, but if we can do it, you can do it as well. Karen suggested we start tithing 10 years or so ago. And old Charlie, he had the barn, and he wanted to stuff the grain in the barn, and he wanted to make sure the barn was bigger and bigger. So through prayer and God's grace, we started tithing. And the more we gave, the more we received. The more we received, the more we gave. Just like the multiplication of the fish and the loaves. And it's just not about money. I received many more gifts of joy and good friendship. I ask that you take the pledge card home this weekend. I ask that you prayerfully consider your contributions for 2023 and return it to the church over the next couple of weeks. Just please remember, this is our church, and you are our community. And what can we do if we all put our resources together? I will be in the back of the church, and hopefully some other Finance Council members will join me. If you have any questions, please come back and ask them. May God bless you and your family.